training for a little over 2 years now, and this video I'm going to share with you the two biggest lessons I learned over that time frame. The first one is make every rep count. I make sure my reps stay as consistent as possible over the set. I make sure I don't cheat the rep. I make sure the reps just look identical, and the only difference is simply just the speed of the concentric. Because of course, as you get more fatigue, as the set becomes more difficult, it will be more difficult to push the weight up. But aside from that, my reps look pretty much identical on every single set. Doesn't matter if it's a warm-up set, doesn't matter if it's a working set. I make sure the reps they look as good as they can be. Because I know there's literally no benefit to me cheating a rep. Yeah, you get an extra rep, but you make sure at the end of the day, the rep isn't even as effective, because if you use momentum and you just use all the muscle groups that aren't necessarily the muscle group that you're trying to train, then what's the use of getting that extra rep? It would be better to get less reps, but make sure the technique stays as identical as possible, because you're not here to train for powerlifting. If you're watching this video, you're probably more interested in bodybuilding. And it's not about how many reps you can get and how heavy you can lift. It's really about making sure you stimulate the muscle enough. You stimulate the muscle you're trying to train as much as possible without getting too much fatigue. And when you use too much momentum, yeah, you can use more weight, but a certain exercise, it also means more fatigue for no added benefit, aside from your ego being stroked or something like that. So make sure the reps look pretty much identical throughout the set. Some people say a little technique breakdown isn't a big problem, but I totally disagree. I think your reps should look like, if you film yourself, it should look like the video is just on repeat. But of course, the concentric is a little bit harder at the end. So I'm going to give you a few tips here when it comes to technique. I would say control the eccentric, so always control the way down. Take a pause at the end of the eccentric. I would say that's what I always do. For example, on bench press, I go slowly on the way down. I take a pause here when the bar's on my chest, then I go up. I go up explosively. So I always control the eccentric on every movement, the way down, and I explode on the way up. That's always how I do it. And I think that's way better than cheating the reps like most people do. Most people think it's okay to use momentum, and they focus more on the amount of reps, the amount of weight they can move, instead of focusing on stimulating the muscle as much as possible. Second tip, the last one, is just eat in a caloric surplus. It's way easier to gain muscle when you're eating more than when you're trying to maintain or eating a caloric deficit, because it just accelerates the muscle building process just so much more. Into your story, I remember over 2 years ago when I first started lifting, consistently. I think in over 6 weeks, I gained around 8 kilograms. Of course, I was too much. I gained more than 1 kilogram per week. That was too fast. I should have gone a little bit slower. But in that period of time, I got so much more muscular in such a short amount of time. It can't even compare to the periods of time where I just decided to maintain, and I tried to gain muscle without gaining weight. You need to be able and need to be willing to gain some fat if you want to gain some muscle. And I'm not saying you should bulk quickly or do it as quickly as I said, because even studies show that it's better to bulk slowly, but you bulk for a long period of time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years straight. That's way better to do. So what I'm doing right now is I'm bulking. I'm trying to gain 0.8 kilograms per month. So it's a slow gain. I'm not gaining weight too fast, but I'm going to make sure I'm going to stay in this bulk, in the calorie surplus, for a long period of time, because before I cut. So I've been training for 2 years and I haven't done a cut yet. So it's only at the end of this bulk that I'm going to do my first cut. It's going to be a pretty long cut, 6 months, because by the end of this bulk, I'll have been training for around 3 years. 3 years of training and eating kind of in a caloric surplus. No, I wasn't eating in a caloric surplus over that whole 3 years. There were periods where I was maintaining, but for a big part of the 3 years, I'm going to be at the end of this bulk, over those 3 years, I would have been in a caloric surplus. So during my first cut, I can cut for 6 months and make sure I get all the fat out, so I can reveal the muscle that I've built over those 3 years of eating a caloric surplus. But eating a calorie surplus is very powerful. Yes, you can gain muscle whilst maintaining. Yes, you can gain muscle without trying to gain weight, but it's a lot slower. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot slower. If you want to see significant results, if you want to be able to just look back 2 months ago and see that you're actually bigger now, gain some weight. Don't do it fast. Gain between 0.5 to 1 kg per month. That's a very slow uh, gain rate, but it's enough. It's actually the best. The rate between 0.5 to 1 kg per month. So imagine you gain 0.5 kg for like 12 months. Yeah, that's 6 kg. 6 kilograms. That's not even that much. It's around 12 pounds. So you can just quickly cut in like 3 months. You can cut that all that fat off, all those 6 kilograms off, in like 3 months of cutting. Even 2 months, it's enough to cut. It's like you should lose 6 kilograms. And if you gain slowly, yes, you're not going to gain as much fat. That's way better to go about it like that. But I would greatly, greatly, greatly recommend just eating a calorie surplus because it's so much more effective than trying to maintain. So yeah. So I'd say those are the two biggest lessons I learned over the last 2 years. And yeah, I hope you found this valuable. If you're interested in my one-to-one fitness coaching, then click the first link in the description. Don't worry if you discomfort. Chase it.